The trap 3 raise is an important exercise for building and maintaining healthy shoulders. It might not look like much, and frankly at first it might not even feel like much, but being able to improve lifts like your bench press and overhead press depend on it. What we're trying to do with the trap 3 raise is get some work with a particular portion of the trapezius muscle. You might think of your traps as the muscle that sort of runs between your neck and shoulder, but it's actually a good deal bigger than that. It's a fairly big triangle-shaped muscle that runs about halfway down your back. The lower portion of the trapezius is called the trap 3, hence the name of this lift. The trap 3 raise doesn't get a lot of attention. It's not an especially glamorous lift, and it's not a very visible muscle. And then throw in the general lack of understanding as to why it's even important, and it's easy to see why it doesn't get much respect. But make no mistake, it is important. The lower traps help to control and depress the scapula, and that's rather crucial in keeping your shoulders healthy and maximizing performance on pressing exercises. So for the sake of safety and buoying your other lifts, you should give the trap 3 raise a little bit of attention. And as if it wasn't already hard enough to train or frankly even pay attention to, the trap 3 raise is a very nuanced lift. There are more than a few places where it's easy to slip up, so let's run through a few quick tips to make sure that you're performing them correctly. Firstly, make sure you begin each individual repetition with a retraction and depression of your shoulder blades. In other words, squeeze your shoulders back and down. That's really the function that we're trying to improve, so it's important to emphasize it with each and every repetition, every single time. Secondly, keep your arms straight as you do these. It's very tempting to bend your elbow because that shortens the lever and makes the lift feel easier. Plus, it allows other muscles that run down your arm to contribute. In order to really keep your elbow extended, you'll probably need to use less weight than you think. It does not take much weight with this lift at all. Third, mind the tempo. Too much momentum with these lifts kills any benefit that they might yield. You might see these types of lifts written with a slower tempo in the up phase or sometimes a pause at the top. It's critical to make sure that you're not simply swinging the weight upward, because then you're just using the inertia of the dumbbell to get to the desired point, but the target muscles are largely left unworked. And lastly, for here, hand position. You want to perform these with a neutral, even semi-supinated grip, that is slightly towards underhand. Hold the dumbbell so that the end is on top is pointing up and slightly to the outside. It's tempting to let your hand roll inward, but that largely takes the impetus off the muscles that we're trying to tax. I know that's a lot to keep in mind for an exercise that you very well might not have ever heard of. All this adds up to using very little weight for these. As you're getting started, 5 pounds is usually plenty. Make sure you can do these with perfect form before you start to add anything else.